that there is a educational deficit in this country where a lot of our kids are not getting the lessons that are necessary to prepare them, or they're not able to process certain abilities. I think the ability to write, I certainly believe that that is taking a hit in this generation. Let me know if you can hear me, if my voice is clear, by putting sevens in the chat room. We know that a lot of these kids are into texting. The verbal skills have gone down because nobody actually engages. I'm generalizing here. No one engages. Good game. Okay, thank you. I'm not using my normal microphone. This is not my normal setup. You've seen me do this setup in the video that I did about Tasha K. This mic right here is, I discovered this mic. It's actually a wireless boom mic. And then I can connect to my mixer through a receiver that goes with this. And I wanted to try this look, this style. And I was trying to play around with the EQ and the sounds late last night. I was concerned that this would sound weird, but it sounds like you guys saying it's good. Now, let's get back on topic here. A lot of these kids today, I'm generalizing, of course, some of them do not have great interpersonal or verbal skills because most of their communication is by way of texting. Seems like everywhere you go, you see kids with their face in a cell phone everywhere. Nobody looks up at anybody and says hi anymore. I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm like the last generation to actually, outside of baby boomers, to actually know what it's like to live in this world without a cell phone or texting. We know what it's like. We can survive without it. I believe personally that this is what's impacting these kids today in school when it comes to whether they can read and write. Now, this is the thing. Darius Williams or Darius Cook has a presence on social media. This man was a social media influencer. A lot of people feel that he's grifting, that he's jumped into teaching all of a sudden. You're always going to have your attractors, but we still have to recognize some of these things because some people believe, was he just performing for the cameras? That was his first day, as far as I know, at school, when he came to the revelation that these kids could not write, they could not read. Now there's a teacher who has disputed what he's had to say. We're talking about this man right here. Let me put him on this, on the front and center for you. There's a teacher that came out, and I'm going to play a video where she's trying to call cap on what Darius Williams, or Darius Cooks, as he's known on social media. She's saying that the same kids that he made a claim that can't read or write, she said that, hey, those were my students before he even got there. And she's calling cap on what he's saying because he says those kids are brilliant. They can read, they can write. She doesn't know why he's saying that. And that's what leads to people questioning this man's story. Now, let me put this up here.
Lunch break. It is, I don't know, 11.
Let me go back. He's on his lunch break. Let's go back over here. Now, I'm going to play you the video in a moment, but there's an article in Atlantic Black Star that you might want to take a look at. And I'm going to read it to you because it's quite interesting how this story is evolving. This man there's been some pushback on him. It says, after a history of complaints, lawsuits, and scam allegations, now Darius Cooks is showing up in a classroom asking people to hear his side. And we're going to get into that right here because there are people that feel that he's cap, but he gives a rebuttal because people were questioning whether he had the educational background to be teaching. So he is refuting people. He came out with a video showing his credentials, breaking down his educational credentials. I'm not challenging the man's credentials. I'm challenging, or I'm asking the question, and I want you all in the chat room to be my guest and what you believe in the comment section of this video, in the chat room. I appreciate you all here. Whether this man is just talking hot air. Now, I'm not denying that we do have, like I said, an educational deficit with some of our kids who can't read or write. Let's be honest, he's right. There's a lot of kids that graduate high school and they are not prepared for life in the aftermath of high school. They're not prepared to be employable at a job. And in some cases, they may not even be prepared to be an entrepreneur and create their own job. That's a concern. However, I know that there are black girls and black boys that are going on to college, that are going on to higher education, that are in skill set classes. The teacher that refutes Darius, and I'm going to put his face up here again, the teacher who refutes what he's saying has already said that those kids are in what you call AP classes, that they're in advanced placement classes. So what is he talking about? Now, you can make an argument that maybe, just maybe, she's saying this to cover herself because she no longer works at the school. Could it be possible that she's mad because what he said exposed maybe her lack of good instruction? But then I have to ask this question, everybody. Are children, I don't care if they're black, whatever their race is, but when it comes to black kids in particular, how can I say this? Are our kids prepared for school, let alone higher education? But when it comes to black children, are they really prepared or prepared, as I should say it correctly, prepared to be able to handle the rigors of a high school program and versus a college program? Are our kids prepared? Are our kids, I'm talking about black kids, are black kids too much into the video games, too much into the social media, too much of the playing with their phone, too much of the looking at videos and looking at the Atlanta Housewives and Love and Hip Hop? Are these programs a detriment to our young people? Is this something that we need to examine? Are these social medias, these reality shows, all of this TikTok? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm on social media. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I got a TikTok channel. Yes, some people use TikTok to put out social commentary. That's what I do. Some people get on TikTok to dance around and act a fool and such, right? But the TikTok narrative or the TikTok world that we live in, a lot of young people are on TikTok more than they are on YouTube. When I look at my analytics, most of the people that are watching me and maybe other people are between the ages of 35, right? In their 40s, 50s and on up. Has this TikTok generation, is it impacting students? So does Darius Williams, does he have a point, or is he just shooting hot air? I'm going to play the video, then play the video of him doing a rebut to people questioning his educational background. I'm going to play the video of the teacher who calls him out. And I'm just wondering, is she just covering herself because she's concerned about maybe looking bad? Maybe it exposes her. But then I would have to make the argument that if the teacher before he got there failed these kids, well, maybe the system has failed these kids, not just one teacher, but the system itself that has passed these kids from grade to grade, because he said these are seniors. Now, on the flip side of this, I got to say it again, is this man who has a social media presence, is this just all hot air to trigger attention to him, to get so that he can get on a TV program, so that he can be called on TV or some show where he can talk about this, right? Did he lie about these kids only to benefit himself? And then ask yourself, if he's got kids that he's teaching, why would you expose your students on social media and embarrass them? Am I angering somebody here? Why would you do that and then turn around and embarrass your kids? Don't you know these kids are looking at social media? You can't tell me that those kids, can y'all hear me? Is the gain fine on this mic? Can y'all hear me clearly? Put sevens in the chat room. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think that there's an ethical issue here, because if he's concerned about these kids, he should be going to where? The principal, the people that run the school district. He should be calling the parents in and having a conversation with the parents so that he could get the parents on his side to say, yeah, my son or my daughter, we're noticing the same thing at home. Why would you go on social media? This is why I say he might just be an imposter. Why would you go on social media and out these kids, even though he didn't say their names? Everybody knows who this guy is because apparently he's well known in the social media streets. And if you're well known in the social media streets, why would you expose your own students and not go to the proper authorities in the school? The first people you should be talking to is the parents. You should send the kids home with a notice to have the parents come into the classroom so that you can introduce yourself, Darius Williams or Cooks. You've got over 70 complaints with the Better Business Bureau about how you did not produce the products for people who brought your products when you were a very popular or are a very popular social media personality who was cooking. See, I got to ask this very logical question, because if those kids see this video that goes viral, how do you feel once they show their parents, hey, this is Mr. Cook or Mr. Williams. He's just talking about us and crying about it. I think what he did was improper from an ethical point of view, because if you're a teacher and you really care about your students, you deal with this shit privately. You don't air it out on social media, bringing attention to yourself. How is that benefiting the kids? Unless you're making it look like you're benefiting them. No, you notice the one thing that he didn't do in that whole setup, ladies and gentlemen, is that he never said anything about how he was going to correct their deficits. He never said the kids can't read, they can't write 4-letter sentences, but they can communicate with their homeboys, as he said. But let me show you, this is what I'm going to do about it to improve them while I am here as a new teacher in their life. Let's go ahead and show that video that exposes him right here.
I just finished a 3-hour class. We have what's called block, and block is where first and second periods are combined for subjects that need it. And so,
yeah, never argue with a fool.
I literally broke down in the middle of class because I'm teaching seniors.
Okay.
These kids are leaving high school and going to college, hopefully, after they finish, we had 2 paragraphs to read, 1 sentence complete to write. I gave them the sentence stems. I basically completed the sentence for them in the mind.
Okay.
These are 17 and 18-year-old kids, and they couldn't fill in 4 words. 4 words. I gave them the scenario. We annotated together. I gave them the answers before we even had the problem. And they couldn't do it.
Okay.
I don't know. I simply don't know where the problem is. This is only day 2. And I have seniors who simply cannot read.
Okay.
And seniors who cannot write.
Okay. Can you talk to the parents about that?
Right. They can reason. They have the ability to defend their reasoning if it's talking to their homeboy, but applying that to a written text, 2 paragraphs, and they couldn't do it.
Okay, let me just say something right here. Either his emotions are legitimate, his crying is legitimate, or he's a damn good actor, or he's thinking that by doing this video, it will bring attention to helping the kids. But once again, I must stand on what I said before. How is this helping the kids if you're not, if you have not talked to the parents first? Maybe the parents wouldn't appreciate you going on social media talking about their kids, even though he didn't say it by name. Maybe he wouldn't appreciate, maybe they wouldn't appreciate, or maybe the kids would not appreciate. Because I would argue that his students would see this before even the parents, because a lot of these kids live their life on social media. I would have as a parent, I would have a problem with this because he didn't come talk to us first. If he's so damn concerned to the point that he's crying like a baby. And I'm not sitting up here saying that there's not an educational deficit, that we don't have kids out here who don't know how to read and write properly, that they're not being passed along from grade to grade. That is happening. There's no doubt about that. But if you're a teacher, what you do in the classroom is a private situation between you and the students. And if you see there's a problem, you need to contact the parents, to have them come in, to have a parents-teacher conference, maybe even get the principal of the school involved to come up with strategies and goals and objectives on how you're going to improve these seniors and juniors who will be close to graduating. Maybe they need IEPs, individual educational plans. That's what a professional would do. Not get on social media and air this out and cry like a baby because you somehow think that that's going to get you all the attention that you're really asking for. Let me go back to the video. Let's go back to that video.
Our young black men, our young brown men, our young black girls, and our young brown girls oh, God.
All right, I want you all to look at the rebuttal video. It's going to be audio. Like this young lady is breaking down what the teacher who had those students that he has in the classroom that I just talked to you all about, that there was a rebuttal from a teacher. And I don't know whether she's rebutted because she's mad that he's saying this because maybe it could make her look bad, or is she saying this because she's truly calling this man out? Because remember, he got this from his first day of teaching. She said she had been teaching those kids for quite some time before he even got there, and that they were some of the finest students. Let's go ahead and play this right now. Check this out.
Teacher of those actual students in that now viral video by Darius Williams, also known as Darius Cooks, sometimes known as Darius Crooks. The actual teacher had something to say and got in his comments.
Can you hear?
To take issue with the fact that he was saying her kids, because you know our students will always be our kids even when they leave us, her kids can't read and write. She's a teacher at that school. She's at another school this year, but she taught them for 2 years. She taught English 1 and 2. She said they're some of the most amazing students. They can read, they can write, they're AP scholars, and they're dual enrollment students. This is Tracy Wade Toussaint, down in Houston, HISD, used to
Miss
teach at the
Toussaint.
school that Darius is at now. And this is what she had to say. The students you are referring to were taught by me for 2 years in English 1 and 2. As current seniors, they are some of the strongest readers and writers Wheatley has seen in a long time. I take great offense at the implication that they can't read or write. These students have completed AP seminar as sophomores, again, taught by me, have written college-level papers, graded by me, have enrolled in HCC for English classes as juniors. How dare you post a video on the second day of school with these accusations
second day.
of literacy? I will say that the students at Wheatley will work for those who believe in them, hold them accountable, push them out of their comfort zones, and love them. Perhaps Wheatley High School is not the place for you, but don't you dare insinuate that my kids can't read or write. I've been an educator for 26 years, and some of my proudest moments have come from watching my kids excel. So he got on this internet on the second day of school crying and lying. I guess his next step was to do what? Create a GoFundMe? So he could get money from all y'all to help the struggling kids who can't read and write? Knowing good and well that teachers use donors choose or Amazon wish lists to get things they need to help the kids in the classroom. Wow. Well, well, well.
Okay, everybody, you heard it. Mrs. Toussaint, she might be Haitian. She has that French last sounding name. She's saying that these kids are not just some lousy students that he made a claim about. So what do you all think about that statement? Like I said, there is people out there that are accusing him of being shady, for lack of a better word. And I don't know, folks. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't seem good. Let me read something to you right here. This is very important. Let me read this to you right here. This is based on his background. Okay, to understand why the internet reacted this way, you have to go back to how Williams' empire actually fell apart. Okay, his social media empire fell apart. His business troubles trace back to 2019 when he agreed to pay, $100,000, $145,000, and $750,000 in restitution and penalties to the state of Georgia after his credit repair company Above 701 was accused of stiffing customers who sought help through the service. That was just the beginning. The Better Business Bureau of Metro Atlanta issued a formal warning about his company, Darius Cooks, LLC, in 2021 after receiving reports that the customers paid for cookware, cookbooks, and dining experiences that were never honored by this man. This is a shame if this is true. Here goes another story right here about him. All right, this one right here is about the complaints weren't small in numbers either. The Better Business Bureau logged more than 70 complaints tied to Williams and his company over the unshipped merchandise, with one customer in North Dakota saying she was told her package simply had not been sent by the post office, only to find out later that a shipping label had been printed, but the item was never actually mailed. Okay. Another thing, the allegations escalated well beyond unshipped cookbooks. In 2021, an Instagram user resurfaced Better Business Bureau records accusing Williams of plagiarizing content from fellow food creators, Angela Davis, which thought the two into direct conflict. Davis did not stop there. She went on to publicly accuse Williams of assassinating a female server in 2019 after allegedly refusing to pay her, writing online that the allegations of a scam, outstanding refunds, and physical assault against a black woman kept piling up, and that she would not let it go. What do you all think about what I just read to you? Here's another part of his background. I got to keep it real here. A third person noted they let Darius teach. He must be a sub because I don't see him going through the process of getting nobody's teaching license. Now, this is where he refuted this and he proved that he had licenses. At least that's what he presented. According to Cook Facebook, he is 3 courses into a Master's of Education instructions at American College Education, and his he quarterly passed his content certification over the summer to be certified as a teacher. Now, let me come back to where you can see me back on the screen here. This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. What do you all think about what I've just read to you? As I said, he's got a questionable background that people are calling him out on. People who are not happy with his business practices, his unethical practices. And it almost makes me think that this could be true, because I think him going on social media and talking about his students after he was there a second day of teaching, instead of addressing the issue within the school system or within the students with their parents and talking to the principal. Now, maybe he's done this and I just don't know, but I just don't think it was the right thing to do, to go to social media when I bet you all those kids are on social media and have probably seen that video. And I don't think it's favorable towards him developing the relationship he needs with his students to get them better, if they are in fact in the shape that he's claiming. When you have the other teacher, Mrs. Toussaint, who doesn't teach there, she's at another school, and she's not at another school because she got kicked out of that school because she was a bad teacher. She just said that those were my students, and at one point in time, and what he's saying doesn't even make sense compared to what I know they were capable of doing. So let's go to the next video. So I want y'all to see this other video right here. Once again, Darius has his paperwork claiming that, he's all certified, he's all good to go. And let's play this video.
Hope everybody's doing extremely well. All right. This will be my first and last time addressing this. All right. First and last time. I guarantee you won't hear anything else come out of my mouth. Now, a lot of people have been saying things like, we see Darius Cooks as a teacher. A lot of people have been saying, what makes Darius Cooks qualified to be a teacher? I kind of don't tell all my business on the internet anymore, so I know a lot of you guys.
But you just did. Wait a minute now.
Let me break it down for you. I graduated.
Wait a minute. I'm going to get back to what this man is saying. He just sat up here and said he don't tell his business. Now, his business being his personal business. But to me, when you are a teacher in the sanctity of the classroom and you go on social media saying what he said, even though he didn't name the students, to me, you just put out business. And you put out business about your classroom without saying what you were going to do. You crying about what the kids can achieve or what you discovered. So you say, but you never said, hey, you know what? This is what I'm going to do to improve their reading, to improve their writing. This is who I need to talk to. But you should have done all of that before you cracked open your cell phone and made those statements. This is just my opinion, folks. You let me know if you feel the same way that I feel when it comes to what this man just said and did. Let me know if you feel the same way that I feel about it, because I think I really think it's crazy. And at the same time, we know that we got kids in these schools that are not prepared, that have some deficits academically. And then the bigger question, and I know this is going to be a controversial question, I believe that learning begins at home first. What are we doing? I'm asking a general question. What are we doing as parents to make sure that we can do what we can do at home to prepare our kids? It's been studied. People are not reading as much as they used to. They've even had studies that people who have gone to college, even after they get out of college, they have not read a book in God knows how long. So this is not just kids in high school, but as parents, are we reading books to our kids or no, not if they're like high school, but yeah, are we reading to our kids when they're little, right? To get them used to reading. When they become teenagers, are we introducing books to them to study? Are we giving them study reports at home? What are we doing even before they get to school? Are we just sending our kids to these schools and just saying, okay, the school will take care of their education? Education starts first at home, in my opinion, starting with your principles and values and how you build character of your kids through values, your family values, principles that you teach them, basic things, the basic concern for their well-being, preparing them for this world. And they need to be able to read, and not only read, but improve. We must improve their reading comprehension. That's very important. They can read something, but do they understand what they are reading? That's very key here. Let's get back to this video, shall we?
With a second bachelor's degree from Berklee College of Music this past summer. As a matter of fact, it was in April is when I graduated. I posted it. You said I lied about it. That's fine. I've also since enrolled in American College of Education. I'm currently working on a master's degree in education. I'm studying for curriculum and instruction. I am currently in my third term at the school.
He might want attention.
I am currently 1B and 2A's in. Also, quietly over the summer, I did all of the coursework and passed my content exam to become a certified teacher in the state of Texas by the Texas Education Agency. There's 3 parts to being certified. The first is coursework, finished it months ago. The second is content exam, passed it months ago. The third piece, getting my field hours, couldn't get them until school started. I'll have it done. Should be certified in a couple of weeks. I'll show you the certificate when it comes. Also, because of my content area, I also must be ServSafe certified. So I've also reapplied, retested, and I am now a certified ServSafe manager as well.
Okay.
So I have all of my certifications lined up. Also, I know a lot of you said, oh, he has a felony. He has a background. I told you I didn't. You believed whoever said I did. You got to pass a state and a federal background check.
He couldn't be teaching if he had a felony.
Mine came back clean.
Right.
I told you I had never been in trouble. You believed whoever said whatever they said. Now you can see I was right. Okay? So for those of you
let me just say this right here. Yeah, if you've got a felony, serious charges, they won't allow you to teach kids. But you could still, because he had a cooking career that all of a sudden, according to there's already been articles in the Atlantic Black Star that his cooking social media career went up in smoke because people were complaining. So you can still have a business or be a social media personality, and then people complain about how you're doing your business. Doesn't mean that it's to the level of you being put in prison or jail or getting a what do you call it, a felony. So I think there were people saying that he had a criminal background and he's never been charged for anything. Okay. But it doesn't still mean that if it's true, I said, if allegedly it's true that he did have a business, some type of business, I think what was it, 701, some type of business that he had. If people have complained that they didn't get the services that they were bargaining for, then it does speak to some character. But besides all of that, I have a problem, like I said, through the theme of this video, of him airing out these students, even though he didn't say their names because he wanted to protect himself. But the fact that he put this on social media, knowing that these kids are very social media involvement. This video went viral on YouTube. It went viral on TikTok and Facebook. These kids have TikTok. Don't tell me they don't have TikTok. So there's a chance that they ran across this video on TikTok, and I wonder how these kids feel about what Darius was saying about them, because they know who he is. Now, there's somebody that put out a post on X that's sort of saying, could this man, might be into some other type of lifestyle. We don't know, but I'm going to just put this up here for about a minute. I'm going to read what it says, to each his own, y'all. From what I see, I don't like. I'll tell you that. What I see, I don't like. And so right here, this guy, make it make sense. Put a post up on X, or Twitter as we know it. It's bad enough that the HSID, which is the Houston School District, Darius Cooks is around kids. I personally think he is looking for his next young boy. Oh my God, to lay up with, then post on social media. That's his thing. See the pic below. Just like posting crying pics and videos for attention is also nothing new for Darius Cooks. This is one of the critics, I guess, that's been following Darius Cooks on these social media streets, and it does not look good. It looks nasty, y'all. What do you think? What is your opinions? What I want you to do when you get a chance is I want you to do me the favor and share this video on all your social media. I want you to give me honest comments in the comment section of this video. Everything about this is shameful. If this is indeed true, that this is all about attention, if this is about really caring about the students, then I have to say, well, kudos to him if he's really concerned about students. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what you're saying in the chat room, and we're going to go over this right now. And let me see. Nightfall says, information man, so I guess the kids we saw going to summer school back in the day was embarrassed, or I guess they didn't need it from falling. They did not need it from failing. No, don't get me wrong. If these kids that he's talking about have legitimate issues, then this is my point is that these kids needs to be addressed between him, the parents, and the principal of the school, and whoever the guidance counselor is, if they even have guidance counselors in schools nowadays. I know when I was in high school or in school, you had guidance counselors. Do we even still have that anymore? Things have changed. You all let me know. Maybe I'm misreading what you're saying, brother. If I am, I'm sorry. Let me see. India sex pose investigation saying that because he's fruity. He may be gay, but to me, his sexuality doesn't matter. Now, if he's harmed, I don't care if it's a heterosexual or someone that's homosexual. If you're doing inappropriate things with minors, then you're going to have to be held accountable. And if that's what's on that post that I put up, then he has to be held accountable. Now, if that's some fictitious post that someone put together and this man really cares about the kids, then he needs to show and improve what he's going to do to help these kids. Right? I just personally don't like it because I feel like this should be a private situation that should be handled between him, the parents, and the students. That if you're going to get on social media and cry about these black kids, talking about the black kids and the black girls and my brown kids, if you're going to cry about these kids, then what's your strategy to fix the problem that you yourself is crying about? Right? We need to know what's the strategy, sir, to help the kids. What is the strategy at the end of the day, right? What's the strategy? That's what I would like to know, what that strategy is. You see what I'm saying? So let's read some more of what folks are saying. We got Jay the Informant saying funding people online should be in crime. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. He's got, like I said, I put that post up. Y'all can go back and look at this video and examine it or go online. Like I said, here is the because I didn't want to show, because this is YouTube, you know how it is. And at the same time, I don't know in this world of AI today if this is even legitimate, but this person make it make sense. If you got X, go to X and take a deeper dive on this post. And take a look for yourself, and you make your own judgment. But this person is saying that Darius, likes a lot of attention. And is this all about attention, or is this about the students? And that's the question you have to ask yourself, all of you personally. Is this truly about students, or is this really about Darius? Okay, let's go back and read some more. We've got a last call. What's going on, last call? Says Information Man, watch for feedback on the mic. Yeah, there's a lot of feedback, and I've got to figure out. Yeah, getting too close. Thank you. I need to move this back. I'm going to have to fix that problem the next time I go live like this. You're right. The mic is too close. There we go. Let's move it away. I probably don't even need it that close. You're right. These boom mics are very sensitive. I'm sorry about that. Okay, that sounds a little bit better. Not as much feedback. And you're right about that last call. I appreciate that. I will have to make adjustments the next time I go live in this format. I'll have to make the proper adjustments because you're right about these boom mics can be very sensitive. But can you hear me? Big Dog Philly OG says peace, and I appreciate that a lot. Good to see you over here, good brother. Let's see, we got Josephine is in the house saying, Information Man, hey, what's going on? Afro Punk Chick says hello family. And Nightfall, he's talking about okay, let me see. Nightfall Drop says, Information Man, remember, he's talking about high school seniors. If the administration and the rest of the school faculty were addressing the problem, we wouldn't be here. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Good point. If he's talking about high school seniors and the school, those in charge of this school are not addressing the issue, then there is a problem. But then at the same time, I'm kind of like, what's really going on? Because you have a teacher who was there who claims that she taught those students and that they can read and they can write. So the question is, what's the truth and what's the lie? Is Darius Williams, aka Darius Cook, telling the truth? He did become emotional And because he was crying and became emotional, I can see how that would sway people to believe what he's saying, or that could make people say, this dude is capping, he's looking for attention. Because wait a minute, this dude previously had a background in social media where he was had a lot of followers. And so that means maybe he's trying to reinvent himself. I don't know. Now, I have no problem with a black person getting that education. If he's got those certifications, he's doing all of that, that's a good thing, because if that's the facts, then nobody can dispute his credentials. The question is this true? So something tells me, everybody, that we won't hear the last of this story about Darius Williams. Something tells me that there's going to be a follow-up to this. Something tells me that there might be more to this situation than we know. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these students come out on social media and say something about this, or their parents. Don't be surprised if that's the next thing that may come. Let me see right here. Let me see who is. Nightfall Drop says, that's fine for you and us. We're grown, have graduate high school, some college grads. It exposes the whole system. Yeah, now don't get me wrong, the whole system. And Bayou Barbie Queen, what's going on? I was about to speak to you, sister. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Don't get me wrong. The educational system in this country is completely flawed. The educational system in America is broken. We don't, in my opinion, spend enough time and energy and money funding education. A lot of times when there's a problem in a state or in the country, what gets cut first? Education. So I have a big problem with the fact that our kids may not be getting the best resources and may not be getting the best options in the public schools. As you know, a lot of them are in a mess. A lot of them are in a bad shape. And so you're absolutely right. No matter whether we agree with Darius Williams or not, it doesn't change the fact that there is a problem in the educational system of this country that's failing our students. And we know that black kids are being failed even more. But we as parents have to be aware of these realities, and we need to be involved in making sure that our kids get everything that they've got coming to them as far as education. We need to be involved in our kids' life. We need to be going to school with them, talking to these teachers, finding out what's going on, talking to the kids. When they come home, to hell with them putting their face in a cell phone. Let's have a discussion. How was school? What's really going on at school, right? And another thing, if these kids cannot write and read, why is it that the parent, if this is true, does it reflect poorly on the parents? Because as a parent at home, you should be able to figure out that your kids can't read. What are you doing with them at home that you don't know that they can read and write? If this is true, we know this is true in general in this society, that a lot of kids can't read and write. We're talking about the system in general has these problems. But if Darius Williams is not capping and not just playing up for the cameras and playing up for his own attention, but if in fact his tears were real tears of sincerity, then you have to ask yourself and say, this school has been failing these kids and they're seniors. And then you got to say, why don't the parents know this? Because if you're a parent, don't you have your kids read things at home? Don't you go out somewhere and have them read the menu at dinner? You should be asking your kids to show, you should be doing things with your kids to be able to see if they can read and write. Not just send your kids to a school blindly and say, oh, well, they being educated. You know, when I was in school, I saw a lot of guys that were athletically inclined. They played football, they played basketball, and they could not read and they could not write. And I saw how they got passed. A lot of this shit happened in the 80s with a lot of Gen Xers, where because they were good in athletics, they got passed from grade to grade. I had a teacher in high school, tell you a quick story. I had a teacher in high school who got in trouble. White guy. He didn't lose his job. They just did what? Transferred him to a more undesirable school, right? But he did some manipulation of a particular guy that I knew who played on the football team because he was a football player and he didn't want to hurt him in terms of his eligibility to play football. So he gave him a grade. He manipulated a few things that he wasn't supposed to do. And out of that, he got in trouble. And then the football player or the guy that I went to school with, he had to take some remedial, he had to take some classes over again or something. So this stuff does happen where we find out that, damn, this kid's been in school for 3 years, a senior, and all of a sudden they can't read and write properly. They don't have good reading comprehension. They can't put 2 or 3 words together in a full sentence without run-on sentences or words. This is the things you have to think about, right? No, mind you, don't get me wrong. We can all make mistakes. Adults, kids, you can always have those days when you read something and you're not at your best reading. Hell, I've had those days where there's some days I'm looking at something to read and I'm not reading it right. Then some days I'm reading it right. We can all have our good days and our off days because none of us are perfect. But then there's a difference when he said that these kids can't read at all. They can't put 4 words together. Do you believe what Darius Williams is saying, or is he just capping for attention? Because he does have quite a questionable background. I say that questionable because everything is alleged until we can prove it all out. But a lot of people on social media have been talking about this man, and they're not very happy about this man. That's what I'm seeing out there, that people are calling him out because they think that there's some interior motive that he has to be saying the things that he's saying about these students. And it does make me wonder myself. We got to keep it real. We got to be honest about this. And one